It is that time of the year again, when we look back on the good and bad decisions that we made and the lessons that we learned. I decided to do this publicly this time and share 4 lessons that I learned throughout the year. Maybe you're going to resonate with those, maybe you're going to disagree, and you can share the lessons that you learned in the comments as well. The first one is going from vibe coding to using AI structured development. In the beginning of the year, more towards the middle of the year, I was doing a lot of experimentation with vibe coding. First using Cursor, then using Cloud Code, and the output was subpar to say the least. Sometimes I just had the feature working, sometimes not even that, but a constant throughout that experimentation was that most of the time the code was either not good, it was hard to reason, was over-architected. So my point here is that letting AI loose never worked for me. What worked for me was having examples. So if I wanted to perform some task that had a similar code experience in my code base, I would refer to that code base and mention while crafting the prompt. If there was no example that I could refer to, I would write the starting of it and then ask AI to complete it. Or I would be very, very detailed on the outcome that I was expecting in the prompt. In all of those cases, if I had an example, if I had a structure, if I had a very detailed prompt, the output was faster than typing the code myself. So I'm still relying on AI to do the final code, but I'm never trusting it with the final product. I have to review it. So 2 steps. 1, providing detailed prompts with examples as much as possible, otherwise with good structure, and finally reviewing that. That's my process today. The second lesson is going from digital to analog journaling. And that came through when I first read the System for Writing book, when I decided to use Obsidian to take my notes. And when you go into the Obsidian world and you look at YouTube and other blog posts, there are many people that are very intense about it, and they have many of the different templates. And I dove into those, and I brought in a template, and I adjusted that template to my day-to-day, but it was a template that was automated for me every single day. And the automated part was a problem because I have a series of questions, the same questions every single day that I would respond in the morning and in the evening, and they became just a checkbox in my list of things to do in the day. I was not thinking too much about it. Going analog and writing down my plan for the day and my review of the day at the end of the day with pen and paper made me realize that slowing it down and thinking about what I was about to write, because I cannot write as fast as I type, and I don't have the backspace key when I make a mistake, so I need to intentionally write what I want to write. That made me slow down and be more thoughtful about what am I adding to my day, what has happened throughout the day, what do I want to move to the next day, or just forget all about it because it's not even worth it to write it down once again. So going from digital and into analog and thinking through that process of writing made me more insightful about the things that I'm doing in a daily basis. And that's my lesson from that. Number 3, having a system for reading with intention. I don't know about you, but sometimes I've been caught in those reading challenges where you have a number of books you want to read throughout the day. And if you are one of those, no criticism in that, but for me what happened is I was rushing through books, and instead of spending those, I don't know how many hours, 10 hours let's say, using that time to learn something, I was just using that time to add another checkbox and complete another task, and that was not bringing meaningful to my personal life. So what I decided to do now is I have a time for reading, and I wake up before everybody to do that reading. After every single chapter, I write down with my hand and pen and paper what I learned, what are the key points that I learned from that chapter. I try to recall from what I just read and write it down. Once the book is done, I do that one more time, but now I write that down in Obsidian, trying to extract the key lessons from the whole book, not the chapter, but referring to my own notes, my handwritten notes of lessons that I learned throughout the chapters. So why I do that, it's a slower process, right? Because I need to write it down after every single chapter, then write it down after the whole book. But I have a summary of each chapter and then a summary of the whole book. And I can trace back things. And not only that, the process of doing all of this writing has made me memorize, at least for now, or internalize, I should say, better the lessons that I'm learning on each book that I've been reading. So that's lesson number 3. Number 4, having morning and evening routines. You may probably have seen that, and I've seen many people talking about having morning and evening routines. And I never took that very seriously because life is chaotic, right? How can you have a routine? Well, I do have a 9-to-5 job. I do this YouTube thing as a side project. I have 3 kids, and life is pretty chaotic. It is hard to find the time to concentrate. For me, what helped? One was to wake up before everybody. So yes, I go to bed earlier and then I wake up earlier than everybody. And in that time, I first take some time to journal, prepare my tasks manually, no screens. And then I set up some time to read. So 30, 45 minutes, depending on how much I think I'm gonna have available for me. And only after that, if I have some time, I'm gonna write some code or learn something else using the screen and the computer. So doing all that helped me do 2 things. One, I have now a dedicated time to reflect, to plan, and to read with intention. And 2, the rest of my family, they are very much morning people, which I never identify as someone being a morning person. And that gives me time to slowly get to the energy levels that everybody will be when they wake up. So that's one thing. Having that morning routine has helped me be, one, more productive because I plan better, I read better, and also in a better mood when I'm dealing with my family in the morning. The other side of this is my end of the day routine. So I use Apple Screen Time to block all my devices at a given point, so I cannot access any electronics. And all I can do is either write down on my journal what happened through the day, think about it, reflect, or read some books. Most of the times I do a little bit of both, but that's my routine. So I'm slowing down a little bit earlier and getting ready for a better sleep experience. What I'm trying to say with all this is that I have structures in my days, in the mornings and in the evenings. And that has helped me dedicate time for the things that are important to me that I was only trying to do whenever I had some time left here and there. But because now I'm setting that time in the morning and at night to do that kind of thing, now I'm doing that more often and I'm being more consistent with the kind of work that I think is important. Thinking about my life and thinking about how can I be better the next day, it's important. And I'm not doing that anymore accidentally. I'm doing that with intention. So those are the key lessons that I learned. If I can find a theme around those lessons, is that it was not about speed for me. It was about where my attention was. And introducing friction with intention in the right places is not a bug, it's a feature. And it helps me slow down, take time, and pay attention to what I need to pay attention at that time. That's it. If you have any lessons you want to share in the comments, please do so. And let's have a conversation around that. Until next time, thanks for watching.